Mr. Jourquin, we understand that you are now retired from your CEO position at Solvay, but you obviously are still a very busy man. You're involved in several different activities and projects, including the EIT Foundation, which is an organization you've been very supportive of since its conception. Could you please explain to us why you decided to be chairman of the EIT Foundation and where your support for this organization comes from?
Well, actually, when you look at the situation in Europe today, we have to consider that we are losing our competitiveness. We have very limited access to raw materials and to energy, and I would say the answer that we can provide is coming from the brains. And that means, obviously, a very strong commitment in developing education. But not only developing education, I would say developing the links and the relations between education and companies. So I believe that this is certainly a first point. Second point, when you see the time spent to bring products on the market, my perception is that we can enhance our processes if we really bring together universities and industries. And this is perfectly done through the KICs of the EIT. And the third one, I would say, when you listen around you, the perception that you have is quite cynical for what concerns Europe. People are criticizing and so on, not recognizing everything Europe has been bringing for people. And so I believe that it's much better if you feel that you can improve things, to take the initiative and to support some actions that go in the right direction and to mobilize all the forces behind these projects.
So we understand that the EIT and the EIT Foundation are different organizations, but they complement each other. Could you please elaborate on how these complementaries are ensured?
Well, actually, basically, there are two independent bodies having their own personality. And as you point out very clearly, our role is complementary. But we have to see it, to consider that within EIT, you have very clear governance, and I would say this governance is putting limits to the kind of activities of EIT, being a European body, and so falling under the rules of European institutions, while the EITF has a much, I would say, broader scope of activity. So whilst the EIT is mainly working through the network of KICs, well, I would say the EITF is free to develop activities, obviously, in support of the basic scope of the EIT, but I would say on a much broader basis. Second point, obviously, in the KICs, you have a number of countries. And we have to consider that still today you have a number of countries not being integrated in the KICs. So spreading, I would say, over Europe, all over Europe, this message of hope for the future through the development of technology is, I believe, extremely important.
Obviously, you have great ambitions for the EIT Foundation, and clearly this foundation will greatly impact the innovation and entrepreneurial spirit of Europe. Could you please explain to us what your vision for the EIT Foundation is and what you see it having achieved in 10 years?
Well, I believe that if we succeed, really creating a federation of large and medium companies sharing the same view. Well, I will remind you that a year ago we started 6. We have today more than double the number of companies being supportive. You can consider that within 10 years, if our programs are developed properly, that we will be able to have really a strong tissue, a strong network of supporting companies. That's the first one. The second point to evaluate if it's a success or not, I would say, is the fact that we could be considered as a reference in what we are doing. You know, I had the opportunity to assist to some presentation in Japan of the STS, Science and Technology in Society. Well, it lasted years before it was becoming a success. But today, we have to consider it is a reference, not only in Asia, but in the world. And I would say somewhere, I have to confess that I'm somewhat jealous about what they achieved. And if we are able to do something like that, I believe we will have been successful.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you to you.